how do you like to be asked out on a date? Literally, dude, you're a picture and you just said, hey, and I said, hey, how's your day? You know, and inserted something a little cute about mine. And we want to be viewing each relationship as independent, devoid of the suffocation that the process itself can sometimes bring.
One of your amazing roles is you are called a digital matchmaker.
Correct.
You actually, behind the scenes, on the apps, pretend, I'm going to use that word, to be the person that is looking for dates. And you are then texting the daters from a phone, pretending to be XYZ. So I want to hear, what is your craziest, most out there digital matchmaking story?
Oh, yes. Digital dating concierge, guilty as charged. So I would say one of my absolute wildest stories is just like opening up phones after a couple conversations and fielding a marriage proposal, fielding proposals to come connect and be a third or a part of their polycule. I have also Bumble allows photos to be uploaded directly into the chat. I have seen a whole variety of specialty body parts based on what things people have decided to show off for the chat. I mean, I would say probably the depressing answer is the number one thing that I see is people getting in their own way and setting up dates and then just literally disappearing. But there's some salaciousness along the way as well.
Thank you for that. And I want to introduce myself. I am Candidly Carolyn. I'm an intuitive coach, and I am asking my guests the question that everybody actually wants answers to, but people are afraid to ask. So what you're going to hear is unscripted, unfiltered, real, and my guests do not know the questions that I'm going to ask. So there's no prep before that. So the second question that I have for you, Susannah, is explain a little bit about what digital matchmaking is for those people that don't know. And then I want you to answer the question, how you deal with the ethics of doing this digital dating concierge, where you're actually not the person that you're getting the date for. How do you deal with that ethically, like in your own life?
Like, honestly, something I think a lot about, which is like identity politics, how to warmly and authentically represent other people. I've been thinking about this my entire life because I have always been in the theater. I've been a director and an actor, improv performer. And one of the things that I do take very seriously is connecting deeply with kind of the heart and soul of a character. So in breaking down what we do in digital dating, my relationship to it is, I think, appropriately romantic. Like, I have like a hope for what I think the power of the written word can do to help people get out of their own ways and do the number one thing that's a dying trend right now, which is to just get outside, talk to each other, put aside all the bullshit and just be themselves where it really counts, which is off the damn fucking screen, right? So I love people. I'm corny for people. Storytelling is like my bread and butter. And I want to understand kind of like two fundamental things. Like, what is one of their big thorns? Like, what is one of the things they keep seeing, whether it's choice body parts on the apps or just people who have no assertive energy? Like, well, everyone's going to have their own complaint, right? So I want to kind of get under the hood of that. And then most importantly, I want to understand, who they want to be connected with the most. And I take those two pieces and I have a long-term collaborative relationship with the client. I am doing goofy things like, if in the chat, the last question that somebody asked was, oh, I'm at Cape Cod this weekend. Have you ever been to Cape Cod? I can't just freaking embellish that. I need to have a legitimate answer. So I am checking in with my clients with questions that we call chat momentum questions. And these are ways of me getting direct connective material about their past and inserting it into the chats. If they just ask me after several solid exchanges to tell you a story about like your best friend from middle school. I want to know more about you. The last thing I'm going to do is try to climb into somebody's 12-year-old essence and actually show up as them. That's a super interesting question that deserves to be asked and answered by the client themselves. So I'll kind of often reach these impasse moments. And these are the moments where I say something like, wonderful topic for conversation. Let's get off the app and talk about this and even more. When are you free? When are you free
That's
to
awesome.
grab a coffee, grab a drink? So for me, ethically, as soon as the conversation gets to a place where topics are being discussed that are meatier representations of the inner self, that's a bridge that I personally won't cross.
For the audience, the way that I met Susannah is that I used to be a professional matchmaker also, which you're probably going to hear more about as this series goes on. And Susannah is an incredible, incredible human, matchmaker, writer, actor, all these things. But I don't know if I ever told you this story, but I actually let my friend, this is like at least 15 years ago. Okay. This is before I was a matchmaker. This is 15 years ago. I let my friend pretend she was me. She had access to my Match.com account.
Fabulous.
And she literally messaged all of the men. She interacted with all of them. And every Monday we would have a, this is before this even existed as a business. Okay, my friend did this for me.
I love this friend.
Yeah. And she had a spreadsheet, and then we would sit down on Mondays and we would go through the spreadsheet that she had and who I was supposed to talk to, and she'd set up the calls for me. And it actually really worked. And the reason that it worked is because we as people have biases that prevent us from actually getting on the dates. And as a matchmaker, the most important thing, and when I used to be a matchmaker, is get on the date. Okay, especially with the apps, get off of the app and get to the date. So Susannah is probably one of the only people outside of a few of my friends that I would allow to do this for me. She hasn't done it for me yet, but who's to say that might be happening soon? But because she is so real and understands that nuance of like when to answer, when not to answer. So I wanted to talk to you, and I wanted to ask you, what do you think is the number one mistake, I'm going to call it a mistake, that people on the apps are generally making in not getting to the date? Because I hear so many friends that basically they're like, I'm messaging these guys, I'm messaging these girls, I have so many, but I like can't get to an actual date. So why do you think that is happening, and how do we fix it?
Amazing question. You literally just made my brain go into like a swirling philosophical eddy for a second, but I think I'm ready to come back. So because I am not experiencing such kind of like heightened emotions, I am able to, and usually because I have like different conversations going at once, I'm avoiding some of the key things that happen, which is when you find an interesting profile, you fixate. You build a story in your head about who they are and what the experience is going to be. When somebody doesn't have a digital matchmaking service and hasn't taken a photo in a year or two that's really super sexy, but they could be amazing, those people get discarded the most. You gotta be, it's like a fucking game of Overcooked here. You gotta be sizzling different pans at different temperatures at different times, and not overly building a narrative about what one person is going to offer you. It's about seeing this site as a source or a resource in and of itself. I will see this a lot. People will ask questions. I'm sure you've had this on the apps, even yourself, Carolyn, like, oh, how are you finding the apps? How are the apps working for you? How do you like to be asked out on a date? Like, I know we've been talking for a few minutes, but like, I usually like, I'd like to know, do you want to text a little while? Do you want to hop right off the call? Like, it's like, literally, dude, you're a picture and you just said, hey, and I said, hey, how's your day? You know, inserted something a little cute about mine, asked you about your life. And your response is, do you want to just get off this app? Like, how do you like to do it? And it's like, what we're playing into now is process. This person is taking the entire experience of the app and making it about the process. People take so much weight on those fixated conversations, and they go, okay, I've got the person, I've got the process, now I'm going to shake them together and I'm going to say, how can I make this work for me? But if we step away from that process space, we have a couple of different things going at once. That's why our matchmakers are always going to recommend Go to
Multiple.
speed dating events,
Yeah,
talk to your
exactly.
friends, flirt with
Yes.
people at grocery stores. It's the same
Yes.
metaphor, right? Sizzling a bunch of different pans. Then what you do is you take away process and you take time to get to know people.
Wow.
I would be a hell of a lot more interested in answering that question 3 lines of dialogue in, where we're bantering about like, oh, the day that I spent with my nephew at the zoo this weekend. Oh, I'm an uncle or an aunt too, like love family. Now in a couple of messages, you can ask, hey, I'm finding you really intriguing. Would you be interested in talking off app a little sooner? And all of a sudden that process is minimized and it's about the connection, because we want to be viewing these apps as a source, and we want to be viewing each relationship as independent, devoid of the suffocation that the process itself can sometimes bring. Relax.
Like, so brilliant. And now my mind is spinning. You gave so many nuggets in there, like literally
Verbosity.
but so many nuggets. So going back to the question, because this is Candidly Carolyn, and I'm trying to get like the hard hitting question. What's the number one thing that is preventing people from getting to an in real life date? Is it boom? What is it? Of all the things you said, because that was a lot. What's the one?
I would say it's a hyper fixation on the process. Of online dating, as opposed to slowing down and finding pleasure in discovering each connection.
I love it.
I've always been a words nerd. I do like texting people. I do like hearing the sound of other people's voices. You have to find a space inside of yourself. Hire a matchmaker if you can't find it. That exists as a tool where on the apps, you can still say to yourself, what will the unique pleasure of this individual interaction bring? How can I fuck the process and find a unique connection right here? People are not doing that.
So then, great point. How do you find the unique enjoyment when the enjoyment is gone and you're like so unhappy on the apps? Because that's the other thing that we hear all the time, right? The apps suck, the apps suck. It's like, no, the apps don't suck, okay? The apps are the same as they have always been, right? Okay?
Correct.
What sucks is your attitude about the apps. How do you get out of that fatigue and the app suck mindset to move on? Because the apps serve a purpose.
They absolutely do. You know what else sucks? The IRS. You know what else sucks? Like mortuaries. But these are all systems that exist for a reason, right? I would have to zone in on here is the answer can't be as simple as one size fits all. And so what that really leads me to is introspection is going to be the number one thing that people have to bring forward. If they die internally every single time they're on the apps and they have no spirit for themselves, and they have, you know, a couple $1,000s lying around and they're like, I know that my person is on the apps, I just can't pick it up. Introspect, look up some digital matchmakers and give them the job, right?
Yes.
Or more often than that, what the introspection is going to lead you to is some acknowledgement that overinvestment is happening, that hyperfixation on specific people or specific processes is happening. If you release yourself from some of that windmill effect of having to check so frequently, and you can actually step into the introspection of, when is this fun for me? What time of day works for me? What kind of conversations are interesting to me? If the conversation blows, or the second thing out of their, you know, proverbial mouth is, well, how do you like to date? Like, how's it out for you? Like, if that is your trigger point, start to introspect on what kind of pleasure you could receive from breaking up those connections. Like, every time you release something like that, it's saving space for something new. How can you find a sense of pleasure in stepping away from what doesn't serve you to step closer to what does?
Oh my God.
Apps provide that.
Drop the mic. Drop the mic. That is like, that doesn't apply just to digital matchmaking and dating people. Rewind that, listen to that again, because that is freaking gold. I want to I love you so much. I want to thank you so much. I wanted to offer if there's anything, how we can connect with you, if there's anything you wanted to say about your socials, or if you wanted people to reach out to you about digital matchmaking, how can they find you?
I would say my number one place you can find me is at Supstang. So that's SUPSTENG on Instagram. And you'll see there that I do scripts and matches. So I'm the screenwriting matchmaker. And yes, I am inspired constantly by my clients for my writing material, but all names and situations have been, modified to protect the romantic. So at Supstang is my big place. If you do a little research from that site, you'll find out where I work. You can decide based on introspection if you want to learn more and connect with my team, because we would love to know you.
And Susannah is the best of the best of the best people. So if you're considering a matchmaker, she's literally one of probably 3 people, after knowing so many matchmakers, that I would personally trust and hire. So I think that she has her heart like completely in the right space. So I want to offer all of my guests the opportunity to ask me one question if they want. Totally up to you. I have no idea what that question would be. We have not talked about this in advance, so I'm in the hot seat too. So if you have one.
Okay, so I'd love to know, have you ever had someone propose marriage to you? Have you ever had, what is the most ridiculous personal outreach message that you've received on the apps? Turnabout's fair play on this question.
I mean, on the app, I have not had anyone propose marriage to me on the apps. I have, thank you. I have had a lot of dates from the apps. I guess the craziest thing is, I dated a guy that was in another state, very far away. And
nice.
We were in a serious relationship. And so the first time I met him, I had to fly 1,000 miles away because he was in training with the Air Force. And so I had to fly to an Air Force base, and I never met him. We only had talked on, and this is way, way back when the app, this is AOL dial-up days. That's how old I am.
I'm hearing the dial tone now.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is I was an early adopter to Match.com. Okay. So so I had to fly. He booked me a separate room, and and we ended up dating for a year almost. And I had to fly to these Air Force bases all around the country. But it wasn't, there's nothing of course, yes, all the naked photos, we all get that. And, the body parts.
That's part and parcel. But I love that your answer is it encouraged you to approach discovery and adventure in a new way in dating. Yeah, that's a dope answer and makes me smug. So well done.
Thank you. And I think honestly, that's my general approach to life. That's why I started this channel. And I think that's what keeps you growing and what keeps you interesting and what keeps you young and what keeps you excited about, the world is honestly opening your mind to new things. And dating is just one part of that. So thank you for being Thank you for being the best of the best. Thank you for being my guest on Candidly Carolyn. And I know that the audience is going to find a lot of value in the information that you share. So thank you again.
I'm Candidly Carolyn. Thanks for watching. If you know anyone you think I should talk to and ask the questions people really want the answers to, send me an email below, carolyn@carolynhorey.com. Bye for now.